Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Whisper of Winter, Chapter 2, Requiem of the Chained King. Quite possibly the most chaotic chapter we've had in quite a while. We have a couple players that are playing from their car. What's up, guys? How's it going?
Just zooming by,
Life is existing for some reason.
life is a highway.
I want to ride it all night long.
I bet.
Non-stop, just... Alright, here we go. So you guys,
Nice.
in the previous episode, in the previous episode, you guys confronted Cyrus, who is Dracion's son, and completely made Excalibur collapse in on itself, learning that your party member Fen was actually the real Fen's husband, whereas the actual Fen Kine was killed a long, long time ago and taken by Drakion, experimented on in Excalibur facilities, and this made the party just burn down the entire Excalibur facility and do away with Cyrus as a whole. Man was disintegrated, and then after having burned down the Excalibur facility, Phoenix, who is Fen Kine's husband, or Switcho Changeo, took his deceased husband's body to a necromancer on the edge of town by the name of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh attempted to cast Raise Dead on Fenkind, but was blocked as, I don't know why the accent came out there. Phoenix was then approached by the Raven Queen, who asked if, as Phoenix had said, he would give up anything for Fen to be able to live. The Raven Queen asked if he really meant that. Asking Phoenix to become his champion, releasing the previous champion of the Matron of Ravens, and giving a second chance to his husband. Phoenix turned this offer down and mourned the loss of his dead husband and decided to take his deceased husband back to Port Soon, which is his family's home. The party also decided they needed a break from killing gods after having discovered the truth about Excalibur as a whole. Learning that, all this genetic modification was happening against people's will. They, through Alora's teleportation, went to various parts of the continent. And Zelron went back to Rosanna, back to the monastery, met up with Sammy, who now has an eye patch. It looked like a big battle happened at the monastery of the Hellish Flame. And one of these students there, by the name of Robin, was killed in the battle. Vigil was held by the students of the monastery. Sammy admitted that she still felt for Zelron, despite kind of like the past. Because of the things that happened more recently, she kind of forgot about these things. But Alora teleported everyone to the places they needed to go. Alora teleported Phoenix and his dead husband to Port Zune. Alora teleported Zelron to Rosanna, back to the monastery. Alora teleported Lucas to the tower. And I want to ask as well, because kind of like everyone is like scattered all around the continent. After like Excalibur like fell and everyone like takes their own solace, where does Adelaide go? Does she go with one of the other party members, or does she go back home, or?
I guess if everybody's splitting off, she might go back home.
Okay. I'm gonna roll here to see then who goes first. 4 sec. Okay. Lucas.
Fuck.
You see that as you arrive back at Alora's tower here, Kima is not here. She has left a letter for Alora, kind of like explaining where she is, that she's running a task for Bahamut. But it's kind of this like quiet place, kind of like after a bunch of battles, and things are kind of like quiet and calm and serene here. Alora pulls out a book and starts working on kind of like a schematic for a magic item. And as it kind of like falls quiet in the tower, what's the first thing Lucas does?
So first off, this is like right as soon as Alora like teleported him to the tower, yeah?
Mm.
So I'd say during this kind of moment, Lucas is still kind of out of it a little bit after everything that happened. So first thing he kind of does is first off take his somewhat newly crafted double scimitar and the dragon blade, kind of just sets them on a wall off to the side of the living room and just kind of makes his way back up to his room for a little bit of to just kind of once and kind of isolate himself.
Okay. You set the two blades on the wall and head up to your room. You get there and it's kind of quiet here. Zigbar does not show up. You walk in here and you see that, like, yeah, you sit down for a while. Alora comes in kind of like gently knocking on the door and then like gingerly pushing it open. And she lingers by the doorway and she looks at you and goes, "Lucas, you alright?"
Not really.
She looks and goes, "I understand that today's been particularly tough on everyone. Is there anything I can do?"
I just kind of need a minute right now.
Okay. That's fine. When you're ready, I want to talk to you about something. I might have made a breakthrough discovery, but you can stay here for now. I'll be downstairs.
Thanks.
You see Alora kind of like closes the door and you hear her footsteps walking downstairs.
I'd say after that, Lucas would just kind of spend like an hour or two just kind of sitting in his room, just kind of letting the recent events kind of replay in his mind a little bit. And as he does, one of the most like iconic points of what happened would probably be his rage and how, even though like at this point he's started accepting the Beowulf, started accepting his past, the amount of rage that he had during the decimation of Excalibur was one thing that he really wasn't a fan of.
Lucas, your mind ruminates through all the various memories of destroying the Excalibur facility, decimating all the security guards and drones that followed you out to the entrance. You saw just so much destruction and strife and battle and struggle to get towards that entrance. And then your mind flashes to the burning of the entire building. You're standing on the outside and you just see like the city guard ushering people out, ushering bodies onto stretchers. You see just, Excalibur as a whole completely is shut down. The city guard of Zadash completely outlaws Excalibur or any type of technology development in that area. And then your mind flashes and you're back in the room.
As like you kind of finally comes to an end, can I like look through the room to see? Like, I'm guessing there's like a couple of different types of like books and shit kind of in the room, right?
Yes.
So, would Lucas happen to have anything in relation to magic and using it for like martial capabilities?
Yes, I think with Kima in the tower as well, I think that there are a number of books that detail how to use magic in a martial way, including various like spellcraft and sorcery books that are sitting on the bookshelves.
So what he's gonna do is he's gonna grab one of those books along with the one Blood Hunter book that he had in his bag since the beginning of the campaign. He's gonna crack them both open, and he's probably gonna spend the rest of the night studying both of them, and like occasionally trying to practice some of the arcane stuff from the magic book.
Okay. As you do, your body kind of like faintly glows with this outline of blue and green as you focus and hone in more on the martial aspect and magical aspect of combat. And just like books open on the table, kind of flipping page by page and things like this. I think Lucas, after practicing and honing his martial and arcane skills, I think Lucas passes out for the night.
Definitely.
So then the following morning, Alora mentions that she kind of like walks into the room. You wake up that morning and you see that like Alora has like taken to all the books and like put a bookmark in the kind of like sections that you left off on, and she's like put a blanket over you, and you see that she like sets a cup of like tea on the table for you directly next to the books, and she's like organized the room after you kind of like practiced. But yeah, you wake up and you see Alora kind of like walks in and is like, finally, there you are, Lucas. I thought you would never wake up.
Hey, what time is it right now?
Looks out the window. She's like, it's only like 8:30, I would guess.
Really? Huh. I must have fallen asleep reading.
She looks and goes, I know you're like determined for this, but you really got to pace yourself, Lucas. I mean, you shouldn't be overworking like this.
I know, it's just kind of, I guess I had a bit of a epiphany last night. I mean, I know this is going to make me sound like I'm kind of following in my dad's footsteps, but after everything that happened and just me sitting here, well, for starters, I realized that I can't really be continuously calling myself your apprentice without knowing a little bit of how the hell the magic out here works. But also, last night I was realizing that there's kind of one thing that I guess I haven't realized I needed to let go of in order to start moving on a lot better.
What is this thing that was holding you back?
This might sound a little cliche or unorthodox, because I know some people would probably argue otherwise, but it was my rage.
She looks and goes, your rage? Do you mean your anger and your hatred for...
That's, yeah, one way to put it, but the reason that I always thought my rage was strong was when I was a nobody, when I was coal sacks, I didn't have the Beowulf side of me as a strength or as an ability. Sure, I had my somewhat draconic powers like my sister, but without the essence of without the Beowulf to help kind of keep me level-headed, there was just nothing but anger, and it ended up being one of my greatest strengths as a nobody. And when I became whole again, and throughout the adventures I've had with Zell and Adelaide, he kind of pauses for a sec before he says Fen. And he doesn't really say Fen, but the lore can kind of guess that the reason he stopped was because of Fen. Anyway, throughout I'm not really planning on making a complete focus on magic. Like, I still think that the blade is probably a more better weapon than the spell. I know we're probably never going to agree on that, but
Well, both have their uses, but go on.
I just kind of figured may as well find a way to meld the two together. Kind of like what my dad did towards the end of fighting Asmodeus.
You're more and more like him every day. It's strange.
Well, I am his son. Though, granted, I am his... No, I'm not technically his firstborn. Don still holds that title, but Dad always did say that second child always kind of does take more after the father.
You see, she takes a sip of her tea, and you see, she says, well, in any case, there is one last thing I wanted to discuss with you. You see, she, points her hand and floats a book towards her, flips it open to a page, and she says, I'm sure you saw me working on this schematic last night.
Yeah, you did say something about making a breakthrough.
She nods and goes, right, so there is an item that hasn't been seen for a long, long time, a magical artifact that essentially inhibits teleportation of any kind. I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. You see...
Do you think this might be a way to, for lack of better words, lock down Lushu?
She nods and goes, indeed. Many tests have been run with this item before, and I don't think necessarily that, or for lack of a better explanation, I don't think Lushu's teleportation circumvents this at all. Meaning that if we were to draw him out somehow, if we were to lure him and to bring him to a certain location, maybe here, or maybe at a castle, or maybe in a city, and we were to get our hands on this device, we could lock down any teleportation of any kind and force him to confront us. The radius of this teleportation inhibition is 120 feet, so it goes out for quite a while. The only problem remains in getting him to where we want him to go.
I haven't heard from him yet. He hasn't tried to taunt me in any way recently, but this actually even brings me up another interesting thing that kind of came to my mind last night as I was reading. So, you know how when we were facing Bane and Asmodeus, and I know you saw the freaking double-bladed scimitar that I have sitting in the hallway, which, by the way, if that ends up ruining the flooring, I do apologize.
No, that's alright. Well,
Those kind of weapons that I now have and that Zarwin ended up kind of upgrading himself, those are pretty powerful. Almost, don't really quote me on this, but with this whole calamity going on, and this could almost lead to a whole new generation of vestiges.
she nods. It's possible. If, great battles take place where parts of these divine beings and celestials and archfey and elementals fall away from them. This is true. And entirely, a brand new set of weapons and, amulets and things like this. That is entirely possible.
That being said, do you think anyone else would have the same idea to try and make these vestiges of calamity?
She gets a scared look on her face and says, I suppose then, if there was a figure conspiring with one or multiple of these betrayer gods, then it's possible. And we wouldn't even know how their weapon functions or how best to develop a strategy to counter it.
I mean, just the kind of two that even we've somehow managed to piece together ourselves. I mean, with my double scimitar made from part of a blade of a betrayer god and the horn of a lord of the hells, and then there's Zelrun walking around with a blade that literally contains the soul of a fallen warrior. That in itself is already terrifying enough as is.
That's exactly right. And who knows what kind of weapon can be forged to be used against us.
Well, could almost say that along with the stereotypical vestiges of divergence that we've got, might be in our best interest to try and piece together as many, like I said, for lack of better words, vestiges of calamity that we can try.
Right. We may as well continue strengthening our weapons and try to arm ourselves as best we can, while attempting to prevent whoever stands against us from developing vestiges of this calamity.
Yeah. Let's see. Actually, even with Spellbook of Karsus, that could in itself also be maybe powerful enough to count. I mean, with the fact that, along with having been in the hands of one of the most terrifying wizards of even the first calamity, now the fact that the Avatar spells once again reunited with the spellbook, along with a few other spells, who knows what else could be added to it to make it even stronger.
We're talking about 10th, 11th, and 12th level spells. Even though only one was ever written in existence, now we have wizards during the time of a second calamity that want to write even more inspired by the works of Karsus. This is quite bad. For lack of better words, this is awful.
Oh yeah, no, this is terrible, hands down, which... You see then Lucas, as he kind of stops and thinks for a second, is like, we agreed to help Bahamut in the fight of Tiamat, right?
Right. But apparently, according to my wife, Tiamat hasn't shown up in the West yet.
Well, that gives us some time. And gives not only to, well, for me to work on this, points to the books of magic and blood hunter fuckery. He also says, this might actually give us another chance to try and make another, well, this is a really stupid way of maybe saying it, but at the very least to maybe figure out a way to try and create another item with the involuntary help of Tiamat once we take her out.
Well, we'll see what parts we can scavenge after the battle, I suppose.
Scales or leather would be a good start.
You see she nods and kind of like chuckles to herself. And you see she stands up and says, I'm going to brew some more tea. Did you want anything? Or like...
Well, honestly, right now, I could do with a blank notebook to try and plan some more of this stuff out. Maybe a cup of coffee.
She nods, stands up, and you walk out. Laura grabs a notebook for you, sets it down, and she makes a cup of coffee. Oh, go on.
Yeah, and before it kind of completely goes out, you see Lucas writing down, just stops to think for a sec, looks to Laura and is like, you think Kima would like a new set of Tiamat armor?
I don't think she would hate it.
Well, and you see he's definitely not the best artist, but he's definitely writing down, first off, possible things from Tiamat that could be used for possible vestige and people who might actually be willing to enjoy having such power. You see Kima's name is definitely on the top of the list, underlined twice.
Kima,
with his
emphasis, yeah.
Yeah, with his name right below it, with a question mark.
Fair enough. And Alora sets a cup of coffee down next to you. And we are going to cut from there over to Zelron. Zelron, you have been in Rosanna for a short time. You see that the vigil for Robin from the students is just finished. Sammy walks into the monastery. I think you walk in as well. A lot of the students have like blankets over their shoulders after the battle, and are like tending to each other's wounds and shit. You see Sammy looks at you, Zell, and is kind of just like putting a hand on your shoulder. And you see she says like, how have things been out there? Crazy world, right?
You don't even know. I mean, we try to do everything we can to help the world, but yet, over and over again, just keep getting shit on.
You see Sammy looks at you and is like, yeah, I don't know. It all seems so, like, hopeless sometimes, you know? How much we fight, and then the world, it's like it's punishing us for fighting back. I don't know. It's just like, how do you keep your hope alive? And how do you keep yourself, like, wanting to fight against everything that's happening?
Because I'm one of the idiots that's living in this world, and I certainly, for one, don't want to die.
That's fair.
And also now I found a new way to keep myself hopeful, and that's you in the monastery. I know that I can keep the world safe with you and my friends.
Sammy smiles at this and nods. You see she like puts a hand on your shoulder and is like, and for the record, by the way, I don't think you're an idiot. I think you're pretty fucking cool. You're smarter than me, so I mean that's, you know, which isn't hard to do, but it's like, you know.
I'm sorry, you cut out just at the very end there. What'd you say?
She's like, you're smarter than me, which is something, which is not hard to do, but, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, no. I wouldn't consider myself smarter than anybody. I just, throughout my life, when I was back in hell, I had a lot of experience. And my battle IQ is just, I don't mean to brag, but it's off the charts. But It seems like no matter like what I get in terms of skill, whether it's a new weapon, he kind of motions towards the demon blade. Whether that's getting new abilities, looks towards the wraps. Everything seems to fall apart. And sometimes I wonder, is it me, or is it just the world just... Does it deserve even to be saved in the first place?
You see, she looks at you and says, I think it does. There's so many people here who, well, who need this planet, who need a home, and if it is to be destroyed, what are we gonna do?
Yeah. I don't know. And then he just like turns a little bit away from her, and he says, I can't keep doing this. Losing people, especially on my watch. I can't keep going through this. We can't keep going through this.
You see Sammy and leans forward a little bit towards you, puts a hand on your shoulder, and is like, I know. It's one thing after another, loss after a loss. It seems so exhausting sometimes, but look, we still have each other, and we can still... There's a light at the end of the tunnel, always, and someday we're gonna look back on all this struggle and this warfare, and we're gonna laugh, But right now, now's the hard part, right?
I guess. I need some time. Alone. Here. Now, wait, before then, what did this person look like?
She looks and goes, oh, so it was a man. He was wearing a black cloak, and he had an eye patch and purple hair.
I figured. Lucas warned me about him. He warned me. And then he goes upstairs to his office.
Okay. So you take off towards the office. Sammy at this point kind of tells the students that, you need some alone time, not to bother you for a bit. You walk up to the office, and it's quiet here. You see that you've been here, I think, for a short time, but I think there are various kind of sticky notes that litter the desk and shit that are clearly written by Sammy, just little two-liners to little silly two-liners to cheer you up that just litter the desk. And just, you walk up to the office and you ruminate for a while about the events that have taken place recently.
So he's gonna look around. He's gonna look around the entire area, and Immediately, and then he just bashes whatever is in there. He just picks up things and he starts throwing it and just sliding things off the desk, moving everything around, just fucking knocking shit over, kicking the desk over.
The desk is
I'm just gonna I'm gonna rip his motherfucking limbs off. Oh, I'm gonna hang him up by his entrails. Oh, I'm gonna kill that motherfucker. Kind of like that.
The desk is cleared off. It falls to the ground, and everything that was on it at first falls to the ground. Photos, papers, sticky notes, everything falls. The drawer is completely emptied. The office completely torn to pieces. Students of yours stand in the entrance to the hallway. Sammy kind of like puts her hand in front of their eyes and like ushers them out. The office is completely destroyed.
And he just kind of sits on the floor and weeps.
Sammy just stands by the doorway, not really sure what to do. From there, we cut to Adelaide. We cut to Rec Centrum. You arrive there, and you see your sister Freya is here. Your mother and father are here as well. And yeah, you see that as you walk into the castle, Freya has like cleaned herself up from the battle, kind of like from the previous having fought the Strife Emperor. So Freya kind of like welcomes you into the castle, and it's kind of like, hey, how have you been? I know fighting gods and shit, you know, I just want to make sure you're doing all right.
It's been hectic. I sort of just came here to get a moment from it, but I'm more curious about how you're doing.
It's, you know, as you said, it's been fucking... Sorry, good example for my sister, right. It's been freaking hectic out there. You see, she looks at you and goes, I've been doing all right, you know, ever since fighting Bane and Asarius and coming back here and helping Dad figure out some, like, political stuff, and just, you know, trying to help Mom and Dad with whatever really they need. Give me an insight check if you don't mind.
Okay. 1 second. 26.
On a 26, Adelaide, your sister is like rambling and dancing around some kind of like uncomfortable truth that she doesn't want to say out loud. And you see she's like, yeah, so then I've been helping Mom and Dad figure out some like political stuff and talking to the Queen in the South, you know, and then...
Do you want to talk more in private?
She looks and goes like, about, looks at the like guards around her and is like, about what? What do you mean? I'm the, what are you talking, what?
I mean, some stuff about, you know, my adventures that maybe we wouldn't want to talk about out here.
You see, she looks and goes, okay, sure, yeah. And she like nods and takes you to this kind of like side room, kind of like away from the security guards. And she closes the door and she's like, okay. I didn't want to like say it because I know you've been like dealing with a oh, sorry.
It doesn't matter what's going on with me. Just tell me what's happening.
She looks at you and goes, okay. So, okay, so, you gotta make me a promise first, okay?
Go on.
So, when I mentioned that I was helping Dad with some political stuff, um, so in the north, they're gathering an army, right? Because one of the betrayer gods is going to hit one of the cities directly north of us.
Mhm.
We've been sending some troops from here as well, just to give them some extra cavalry and some support. And when I mentioned that, the betrayer, the god that's there is Vecna, Dad got real nervous, and I asked him kind of what was up, and so promise you won't storm into Dad's room and get mad at him, okay?
I can promise to do my best.
Okay, that's good enough. So, I was like, oh yeah, we're sending troops to help fight Vecna, and he got really nervous. And I asked him what was up, and he kind of resisted telling me at first. And he was kind of trying to dance around it, and I persisted. I was like, Dad, what's up? Why are you so nervous about Vecna? He, to my understanding, he made a deal in the dark.
What kind of deal?
So I went on a brief kind of scouting mission to see how much time we had before Vecna arrived in the city, right? And when I went, he was being stopped by soldiers and mages who tried to delay his approach. I was kind of close to the battle, but when I got close enough to be seen by him, he wouldn't attack me. He would ignore me. He would act as if I wasn't there, and I even tried to get his attention more than once, but it seemed like he just didn't know I was there. He didn't notice me. And I asked Dad about it, and he confessed. He said he made a deal with Vecna directly and said, I didn't really understand the full extent of it, but he asked for the protection of you and me, and to make sure that neither of us would be harmed. In exchange, if the city in the north falls and Vecna completely conquers it, then Dad's soul is, his.
So I'm finding out stupid deals with gods run in the family.
Well, not necessarily. Well, it is stupid because it risks his soul, right? But that's why I'm I didn't really want to tell you because I knew you were gonna.
Wait, so what happens if the city in the north doesn't get overtaken?
If it doesn't get overtaken and successfully defended, either Vecna is just killed right there on the spot, or he's forced to go somewhere else, and Dad keeps his soul.
Well, there's our simple solution. We'll just have to take out Vecna and then confront our father.
You're not gonna because you made me a promise. You said you weren't gonna yell at him or anything like that.
I said I would try to not storm into his room and tell him off. There's other places that I can do that.
She nods knowingly and is well, okay, understandable. Yeah. So I don't really know how long Vecna has before he gets to the city in the north, but just when we do confront him, just go easy on him. I know I don't want to say your thing with Mishra was stupid because it wasn't really your choice, right? But just like go easy on him, you know what I mean?
I mean, why did he even do that? Like, I'll try to keep it inside. I'll keep it to myself as best as I can.
She nods. And you see that she kind of like looks around and sighs and goes, God, well, I'm glad you're gonna at least try to go easy on him. It's crazy. Mr. brought me back to life. I kind of pictured this like perfect paradise with no problems, and we were just going to be a good, happy family. We were just going to live life, and no one was ever going to try to conquer us, or there's going to be no war ever. Everything's going to be perfect. And now we're like fighting gods and shit, and Dad's making deals in the dark, and all this crazy shit. Like, this is... I really have to stop cursing in front of you, but like...
No. Listen, I don't know how posh you think I am, but it's fine. This is fucking insane, and it has been for a while.
She nods. And you see she says, well, when Vecna arrives there in the north, I will be the first to tell you. And yeah, you see Freya kind of like opens the door, and you see she says, I'll be in the study. If you need anything, just ask.
Alright, I will do. And hey, I'll make sure this thing, gets handled, okay? Our whole family will be safe.
Alright. I trust you.
I appreciate your trust.
Freya walks off towards the study. Yeah, Adelaide, as you kind of like walk in the castle, you notice that like you do see your dad on like, I mean, you see him on more than one occasion, but you see that he like avoids eye contact with you, and like, yeah, just like upon noticing you're there, just like talks to one of his like general knights, or like distracts himself with a book, or just avoids eye contact at all.
I'll let him avoid me.
Fair enough. Hell yeah. From there, we're gonna bring everyone together. So Adelaide knows that Vecna is gonna be trying to conquer a city directly north of her home capital, but still remains the problem of Tiamat arriving in the west. Do you think you guys wanted to aid in the Vecna fight first, or did you want to go and help and fight Tiamat?
Well, Tiamat hasn't been sighted right yet, so she's probably set up for the city near my city.
Yeah, because like what? Vecna's like already there, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I made the deal with my dad.
Right. So yeah, no, I feel like, Lucas isn't really paying attention to shit. He's busy doing his own thing. But with Alora like being like, yeah, no, I just got word. Yeah, so Vecna's here. Do you want to help kick his ass? While Lucas is like doing his semi-research and training, he would just be like, you know what? Yeah, fuck it. Let's go kill an undead god.
Alright, wait, hang on. How long has like the break gone along?
This is maybe like having taken the break for a week. I'd say like on the 6th or 7th day.
Okay, so Zell comes back with a new haircut, as you know.
Hell yeah.
His hair is slightly longer, but he has cut off his, ponytail and tied it, and like did not tie it anymore, so it's just like draping down now.
Oh my god, he went Zuko.
Fucking
right?
god.
I don't even know what's a zucchini.
Oh my
Wow, dude.
I'm so dead.
Yeah, but yeah, he is pretty much silent the entire time.
Yeah, you guys head to Rex and Trim to help set up for the Vecna fight. I think, Zelran, before you had left Rosanna and like teleported with Alora, I think Sammy would have offered to come with and like help out in the fight if you wanted her to.
No. He needs to stay there just in case if anything else pops off. He was honestly reluctant to even go, but you know, God killing. So,
Fair enough.
but he did. At one point when we are setting up for the fight, Zelron is gonna pull Lucas to the side.
To which also, Lucas doesn't exactly look 100% different. Like, you can tell he looks... You can tell he looks a little bit... less pale than he used to be. Like, you can see like he's taking a bit better care of himself than anything. And then like outfit wise, his outfit's definitely changed it a little bit to where it's still the nobody cloak, but in the same design as like his original cloak. So it's like the one that in the screenshot. So it's like got like one of its sides sleeveless. It looks a little more lightweight and still with the dark blue, but it still has that sort of gray outline and shit like that.
Okay,
Hell yeah.
that's pretty cool. So wait, hang on. So he finally got some sun?
He's finally taking a little better care of himself.
Let's go.
Okay, that juicy UV radiation. You gotta love it.
Vitamin D, baby.
God, don't. All right, he's gonna pull. No crap. He's gonna pull Lucas aside.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, so
Dude, you look like shit.
no kidding. So something's happened, and the reason why I wanted to pull you aside is because it has to do with your boy.
Ah, crap. What's he done now?
He attacked my monastery. He took Sammy's eye. And worst of all, he killed Robin.
You see Lucas kind of pause for a sec, take a deep... Fortunately, not very subtle, he's like, he fucking what?
Yeah.
Shit.
I knew we were busy with gods and whatever, but I should have been there to protect them. And now Robin's gone.
Zal, look, you can't be...
If something does happen when we see him, I will be right there with you when we tear him apart.
You see you can see like Lucas kind of wants to, for lack of better words, rage, but he holds it back and takes a deep breath and puts his hand on Zelrin's shoulder and he goes, I'm sorry that happens. And I promise that when we do fight Lushu or Zigbar or whatever the hell he wants to call himself, I'd be honored to have you by my side to kick his ass.
I'm gonna do more than that, Lucas. I'm gonna tear him apart.
Get in line.
Well,
But either way, we will make him pay for what he did to not only your monastery, but also to what he did to Sammy and to what he did to Robin. I promise.
thank you.
So, also, seriously, you do look like shit. Have you been getting enough sleep?
I haven't slept at all. I haven't done anything. I haven't showered. I haven't done anything. I've been
I cast I cast Prestidigitation on Zelrun to clean him up.
Jesus.
Yeah, when you cast it, he's still in like the same position as he was when you do end up casting it. So he's just like kind of slumped over and just like sad looking. And when you do clean him up, he looks great, but he's still like,
He still looks depressed as fuck.
Yeah.
Well, at least now you don't smell.
Is there a spell to make my sadness go away?
To an extent, yes, for a little bit, but honestly, that is beyond my skill set right now.
I know a spell.
No, that
Oh,
was rhetorical.
sorry.
I'll get through it on my own. Now, I'm going to drown my sorrows in blood. So let's go kill a god.
You know what? Bet. Let's go kill a god. And then after this, I'm gonna need to talk to you and like the rest of the group because I may have actually, Alora came into one discovery that actually might help in us kicking Zigbar's ass. But there's also another terrifying discovery that I kind of made this last week.
What is that?
Let's talk about it after we kick Vecna's ass.
Alrighty then. Oh, shit. Out of character. Hey, okay, so, really quickly. I'll just say this as just a quick thing. We don't have to go into it, but before he left the monastery in Rosanna, he did employ some knights to stay back behind and protect it while he's gone as well. Just in case.
You got it.
So me looking at my character sheet to see if I actually do have Prestidigitation. Because I actually don't remember right now.
If not, then Laura would have casted it. But anywho.
Yeah.
But yeah. So knights are positioned outside of the Monastery of the Hellish Flame in Rosanna. Adelaide, you bring everyone to Rexentrum. Yeah, I think the Queen informed Zelron and Alora informed Lucas. Everyone gathers their forces in Rexentrum and is gathering all of their soldiers and putting them in the north, preparing for Vecna's arrival. And he is spotted off in the distance by one of the scouts who kind of like informs all of the soldiers to get ready. You guys notice as you arrive in the city directly north of Rexentrum, which is Odislo, as you stand ready just outside of the city gates here. You see soldiers lined up, kind of like archers and mages there down on the ground. Vecna arrives, definitely slightly weaker than he was when faced by Vox Machina. Still, his avatar form just emanating this aura of undeath and necrotic energy. As Vecna approaches, some of his minions hit the ground running, to which all of the knights here and the soldiers and the archers and the mages take off directly towards all of these enemies. And I think we can call it right there. Right before the big battle against Vecna.
Damn. No need to blue ball us like that, man.
But yeah, so Join us next week as the party battles Vecna, and also discover what allies are going to be joining in the fights. Might have some Vox Machina members show up. Who knows?
Oh shit!
But
Who's the Vox Machina?
So thank you guys so much for watching at home, and thank you to my lovely players for coming out, even though crazy time, Angel's like moving and shit. And then next week, damn, I fucked that up. Next week we're gonna be doing the Halloween game. So in 2 weeks the party will be fighting Vecna. But yeah, so tune in next week for our spooky Halloween game and the costume contest as well. That's all from us for now. Oh, go on.
Oh no. While we're actually live, I kind of want to just say this out loud.
Yeah.
Would you want to, would you want us to show it like on stream, like our costumes, before we begin the game?
We can do
Like showing y'all's face, even though we've done it before. But I mean, I don't know how y'all feel now. So
that's true. I'm down to probably before the game. I'll capture the Discord window, and then we'll show our costumes, and then we'll do the game.
okay, yeah, I figured. Okay,
Hell yeah.
perfect.
Hell yeah.
You guys, mission for me.
So thank you guys for watching, and thank you to my awesome players for playing, and we'll see you next week for our spooky game. Bye-bye.
Bye.